actually the hole in the side of my trailer. I've had this trailer for 10 years. I have about 47,000 miles on it. And this actually started about the 4th year that I had it. I was going or trying to go under a bridge on a 1-lane road in Pennsylvania. The trailer wouldn't fit under the bridge, which I found out just as I came up to it because it looked low. I got out and checked it, missing it by about that much. So I had to decide what to do. The road was very curved and too long to back out on. It was quite narrow, 1 car wide, and it had steep drop-offs on both sides. And I had to turn this around. And there was no way to do it. I couldn't even unhitch the trailer and spin it. 1, it's heavy, and 2, I was afraid to lose it off the side of the road if I did, just trying to do it by myself. So I had to do a turnaround with the pickup truck. I had no choice. I had to jackknife the trailer. There was no back and forth. Well, there was back and forth, but it was so minimal. I had to go back and forth like 50 times just to be able to get it turned around. I had 4-wheel drive on this truck, so I was able to go down off the road into a ditch and then pull it out. The ditch was so deep that I was pulling it out on the frame. The wheels weren't on the ground in a couple places. So that's how tight it was. It's amazing I even turned it around. But the dent started here. It was a deep pocket. I left it. It was fine with me. So in our last trip, we were in the Upper Peninsula of Quebec, out of nowhere, really, on sand dunes. And I got to the end of the road, and geez, it was a dead end. The sand was soft in most places, and I had to do that turnaround again. I had to actually back it up the side of the sand. So I kept the truck wheels on some pretty hard stuff, but the trailer went up on soft sand on a tilt. Jackknifed it a lot. I heard the crunch. I had no choice. I had to push the trailer, if you know what I mean. You jackknife it and end up pushing the tongue to the side with the truck. But it broke through the diamond plate, which is not really thick. So I've got to do a repair on this. And this is the story of that repair. The only thing is, do I know what I'm doing? The answer is, like with many of us, I think I do. But we'll find out. Best case scenario, what I do comes out good, looks good, and I'm happy with it. Worst case scenario, it really doesn't, and I have to rethink it or take it back to the guys, which are about 30 minutes away, and say, what can you do with this? And probably pay through the nose for it. But one way or the other, this has got to be patched. My motto, I'll try anything once. Now, I put a feeler out on Facebook knowing I would get a variety of answers, and I did get a couple of people who actually knew about how to do this, and they gave me some instructions. You know, someone who said, you know, I've done this many times, or I do it for a living. I also got a whole bunch of other stuff, which some of it I had to take with a grain of salt. People are saying, hey, you know, put some screws in there, or just get some of that shiny duct tape, patch it over, it'll hardly notice. One guy, which was funny and sad, said, it's glued together, get rid of that piece of junk and get yourself a good trailer. Well, this is a good trailer, 10 years old, trouble-free. It is glued together, 3M tape. I wanted it that way. I do not want rivets or screws. It is guaranteed never to come apart, and it never has. It will never leak. This trailer will never leak. And the underside is unfinished and unsealed, and it will never rot, mold, or mildew. It is lifetime. It's an all aluminum trailer. It's made by a family factory in New Hampshire, and after a long search, I had one made. I went through the factory, got to see the guy welding, got to meet the welder, looked at all of the seams, beautifully done, picked out different things I wanted, picked out the size. They made it to order and put exactly what I wanted into it, and they were proud to show me the work that they do. So this has been a very good trailer, but I guess I'm not that good a backer-upper. And to beat this off at the pass too, someone's gonna say, why don't you just get a hitch extender? Well, I did the research, did the math, and I found out that a hitch extender does almost no good. If I were to extend this out another foot, it would still hit in the same place. You would just be able to jackknife further. You could pivot much further before it hit. What you've got to do is get the connection point away from the truck. And how much you need to get it back, and I would love to have a trailer that had been made this way. The point from the hitch to the end of the bumper should be the same length as from the nose of the trailer to the end of the ball, or a little longer. So I did the math on that too, and figured that I'd have to come out another 16 inches, way out here. Contacted the company. They said the dynamics of the trailer, the way it's made, it's not something I should do. I took their word for it. It is aluminum, it's not steel, so I know there are some structural issues that way. I am not going to extend this tongue out here. That was something I thought of a long time, and I decided no. I am going to do another solution later on. I am actually going to build a bumper on the side here. I do weld, and I'm going to make something, probably in the spring. But for now, the repairing of this. Now, this entire trailer is mostly glued together, as many good trailers are. For example, here's a seam. And the seam is guaranteed for life, I think. And I never expect it to come apart. The benefit of not having screws and rivets, too, for me, it's looks. But also the most important thing is the bouncing, which these trailers do a lot. Eventually, the holes will widen where the screws and rivets are. And there are a lot of people who have to replace those after a while. And I wanted to avoid that. So as you can see, except for the periodically on the corners here, there are no screws, no rivets. The top is one piece of aluminum. I'm planning on repairing this patch the same way. So this is the sheet of diamond plate that I'm using. And why am I not going all the way to the end, up to the corner? Well, this one piece cost $56. The next size up was a 2 by 4 foot sheet. I won't even mention the price. Enhancing the tooth or roughing up the backside of the aluminum will help the tape stick better. This is 111 3M primer that 3M recommends for use with the tape that I'll be using. I'll be adding tape all around the edges, but I'm also adding in two places where I know there's a vertical stud to tape up against. This 3M tape is double-sided, and you unroll it and just glue it along the edge, and there's a plastic backing on it that will be peeled off before it's applied to the trailer. Initial pressure is very important to get it to stick. This is Pine Sol in a Windex bottle. I'm looking to get rid of any road resins, tars, pitch, things like that. Next, alcohol and then the primer, and then I'll let it all dry. Before I pull the backing off the tape, I want to mark all the areas where I want to apply some Lexel. Lexel is sort of like silicone caulk, but it's not silicone based, and it's stickier, and over time will probably stay a lot more flexible and rubberier, which is important when you have a bouncing trailer. Have you noticed the Harbor Freight hydraulic lift cart? I use it all the time. Well, that's it. I don't think it's going anywhere. I've used this stuff before, and give it 72 hours, and if I were to put a crowbar or something down in here, if I could slide something in and try to rip it off, it would actually rip the underside of the aluminum off. I do have a really good rivet gun with small rivets, right up to 1/4-inch rivets, and you know, I could put a few here if I wanted to along the bottom, but they would show. It would be like, you know, the sutures in Frankenstein's neck. The only thing that I do notice is this is shiny, which is what this used to be 10 years ago. But I'm thinking that it isn't that noticeable, and soon as things weather and being outdoors and traveling with it, particularly on the front here, this will eventually begin to look more like this. This is a little oxidized. I wish it were all shiny like this. It's pretty. I remember it was like this 10 years ago when I got it. So, 3 screws, lots of tape, Lexel in certain places, which will do 2 things. It'll help seal it, and it'll help glue it. Lexel's good stuff. I want to thank all of those people online, particularly Facebook, who gave me some pointers, ideas. I used a lot of them. I'm thinking this is going to be a permanent fix. It's not the end of the world if it's not. I back up and punt. Either try again or get someone else involved. But right now, I think this is going to be fine. And what I've got to do is find out exactly where my bumper hits if I should have to turn too far. And for the guy who said I need to take driving lessons, no, when I crunched the side of this, I knew it was happening. I had no choice. And after 10 years, I think I've done pretty good. But anyway, I am planning on building something up along the side here that will stop the bumper from hitting this. Something I'm going to weld up. It's going to be strapped underneath and come up on both sides. Probably in the spring though. Thanks for watching. This was nerve-wracking. You know, you start off, you don't know if it's going to work, and I think it did. So, till next time.